great edition of Mississippi Stories. I'm your host, Marshall Ramsey, editorial cartoonist and editor-at-large for Mississippi Today. Good grief, I had to even think for a second who I was. It's great, but I know who this person is 'cause she's a rock star. I tell you what, you see a lot of problems in the world, and the first thing you think is, the things will never change. But there is an elite group of people out there who are working really hard to make change happen, and our guest today is one of them, but also she is a Harry S. Truman Foundation Scholarship Finalist as well. Maisie Brown, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having
I feel like I know you already.
Yeah, I know, social media.
Social media is great, and then I see you on TV. I turn on Morning Joe, you're there. You're speaking up at the Capitol when you're 14 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you're 21.
Yes.
Yeah, by the way, Teen Vogue, 21, under 21.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
no, that was crazy. Cause I grew up reading little Teen Vogue articles, and I was like, there's me.
And they had an artist do a little drawing of you?
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
No, it was very cool.
Did they give you a copy of the drawing?
No, okay, so
I feel like
the annoying thing about magazines and stuff now, because even the glamour, my grandma, my grandma loves magazines. She's like, I gotta get a copy. And they're like, oh, we don't print them anymore. We just do online.
Yeah.
Covers and spreads and stuff. So that's the only bad thing about doing magazine stuff now, because you don't get physical copies. It's just all an online archive.
It's just kind of hard to frame the computer monitor on your wall.
Yeah. So I just I'm just resorting to screenshotting on my computer and just printing things out, because they won't send you physical copies anymore.
So you got a whole wall now? You're like Elvis, you got a trophy
room?
room?
I actually, my mom kind of does hoard my awards, even piano awards, and I was third grade. I don't know why she has them.
You do. You were a really good piano player too.
Yeah, I played for 10 years. Yeah, I one of my goals for 2023, I was I have to pick my piano back up. Honestly, I'm way too good for how I just let it fall off. So that's one of my goals. And before I turn 30, I want to play with the symphony. I want to do I want to play a piano concerto. I don't know, that's a random goal.
Oh, we can hook you up.
I have to remember how to play like I did before. It's been a long time.
I think you've got this. I really do. Let me ask you about this seriously, though. I mean, the Truman, that is an incredible, huge honor. Did they call you up and just said, "Hey, congratulations," or did you get a letter in the mail?
So first of all, the application itself, anybody would say the application just makes you just not want to do it anymore. It was so many essays that you had to write about so many different things, all the different recommendations you had to have. It had to connect with the answers that you were. I mean, it was insane. And honestly, most colleges, I know some people who've been finding some Ole Miss, Harvard, most of those schools have an internal process for how they even nominate the students that they even allow to apply for the scholarship. So at Jackson State, we've never had a Truman finalist. That's just, it wasn't really a thing, but we do have an advisor. And so I was like, hey, Dr. Hurd, this is something that I want to do. And she's like, okay, I can open up the application for you. And it took me around 2 to 3 weeks to do the entire application. And, she looked at it. She's like, okay, this looks pretty good. And I was like, okay. And we sent it off. And so I was actually in DC when I got the email. Keep in mind, I'm the whole week I'm sweating because I'm they said we're supposed to get something this week. I don't have anything in my email. I'm texting all my friends. I'm y'all, I don't think I got it. I don't have anything. They haven't said anything. And we were on our way out to dinner, and I was waiting downstairs for my classmates in the lobby at the hotel. And all I saw was congratulations. And I was like, yes, first round on me.
Nice.
So it was great.
And then you had to double check, make sure when your friends
I was like, okay, it's from the real place.
It's legit. It's real. It's real on that. So what's the process now? So you've got one more round of interviews, don't you?
Well, this is the final interview.
Yeah, okay.
So they had 705 applications from 300 schools, and then now they cut down to 199.
Wow.
Odd number. But they cut it down.
Well, there was 200, but the other got it.
Yeah. And so you interview based on your region.
Okay.
And so I'm in the region with Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And so we all go to Nashville on the 20th, and then they'll just do our interviews all throughout the day, and then we'll hear something back if we got it in April. So it's a 20-minute interview. It's 6 people on your panel, and they're just shooting at you. Questions.
Wow. So I would say it's not something you can really prepare for. It's something basically you've lived 21 years of your life and you just bring that into it.
Yeah, because they're mostly asking you about like what's in your application, and you also had to write a policy proposal to go with it and like address it to the right person and talk about all of that. So they might ask you about your policy proposal. They might ask you about opposition theory. I mean, it really is kind of like I've done some prep interviews, and I actually have another one tomorrow at school.
Yeah.
But it's like you just never know.
Right.
Like you just kind of have to be prepared for everything. And so in my mock interviews, I was like, "Whoo, y'all, I'm sweating a little bit." Like I had questions like this before. I'm thinking going to like I've done like a billion interviews. Like I got this, but like it's just different. They're just trying to see how you do like under duress. Like
what's it like versus like being a Morning Joe on national television?
They kind of give you a little more prep about what they're going to. They're not going to dig just quite like they're not evaluating you.
Right.
I would say
they want it to be good TV.
Yeah, they want good TV. They don't want you stumbling over your answers. They don't want you to be like, I don't know. Like in Truman, like they're like, we're gonna see how far we can push you until you say I don't know.
Nice.
It's kind of like that, and so it feels very, even like in some of my mock interviews, they're like, we had. She's really nice, but we had her to play combative because you might have somebody in your panel who may not necessarily see the weight, but you have to just push through and just be mindful of your facial expression. Told me that.
Yeah, I sat in on my son getting his thesis. He was defending his thesis.
Yeah.
And there was this one guy that was just doing this with a needle and the whole time. And I'm sitting there watching. I could see my son's eye twitching.
She told me, she was like, now B, because she was like, now when she cut you off, you kind of had like and I said moment. She was like, just keep calm. Let it roll off your shoulders. It's nothing personal. It is really, really trying to see.
Yeah. Okay, see what you got.
Yeah, because it's a lot of money to give somebody. They want to make sure they're like, the right person to give it to.
$30,000.
Yeah.
That's good money.
Yeah.
Yeah. To pay for graduate school, obviously you can't go to the casino with it.
No. It has to go to the graduate school. But so far I'm graduating undergrad in December, debt free. So I'm trying to do it again.
What's your degrees in public policy?
Political science.
Political science.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so you're looking to get like a master's in public policy.
Yeah, or public administration, something along those lines.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, seriously, 14 years old, you're in Washington, you're speaking in front of a huge crowd. So you've been doing this for a long time. Yeah. Yeah. When you were little, at what point did you realize, you know what, I see problems that need to be addressed and I can do it?
Honestly, it was about middle school, about 8th grade, when I actually learned about the state flag. Yeah. And exactly what it meant, what it was. Because up until that point, I'd always go to Jackson Public Schools. And so I was used to being around usually like 99% black, people like all the time. Right. And so up until that point, I really hadn't been forced to think about race that critically. Right. Because I was always used to being around people who looked like me. Right. You're in a bubble. Yeah. I was in a bubble. And so in 8th grade, once I learned about the state flag, we had an assignment in Algebra 1 to like redesign the state flag. And so my mom like, why are we redesigning this? So I kind of got down a rabbit hole of research, and I kind of had like a I'm black moment. And so, and not even just like a I'm black, but like what does that mean in the context of Mississippi and America? So that kind of led me down. So honestly, probably since about then, but up until that point, like I had not thought twice about like being black, because I was like, everybody, like it's just a thing, like this is who we are. Yeah.
And so how did you end up literally going to Washington and doing that? So going from the, literally became an assignment in your middle school to that. So
crazy enough, so that around, what was I in middle school? Like 2015?
Because I would have died 10,000 deaths if I had 14 years old, had to get in front of 3 people.
It was like 2015, 2016, around that area, like the flag protest and debate was happening again, especially around Jackson. And so honestly, just like found on social media like different protests and things that were happening. I also met a lady, her name is Dr. J, who was a professor at Tougaloo, and she was doing some organizing around a flag issue, and she connected, and I went to the protest with her, and she actually connected me with the actress Anjanou Ellis. Yeah. And she was a part of helping to fund, it was like some buses of Mississippians going up to that rally in DC, and so we actually rode on that bus that Anjanou helped fund, and they just wanted me to speak. I just thought it'd be cool to like have a middle schooler speak. And so that's kind of how that went.
That could have been a disaster, you know that.
It turned out
really good with you. No, you did a great job.
No, it was good.
You did a great job, and it's like I said, obviously what happened with George Floyd. I mean, what a national just tragedy and
Yeah.
disaster. And we watched it, and I think unless you had a really hard heart, you could not have been moved by it.
Right.
What I was proud of about it was that literally, excuse me for saying this because I have a son your age too,
Yeah.
but I mean, your generation stepped up.
Yeah.
You stepped up and you led.
Right.
And you were a big part of that in the protest here in Jackson,
Yeah.
which turned out to be very smooth, and
Yeah,
it was
it was
a really great
cool,
day.
yeah.
It was a great day, very well organized and really done. Let me ask you this though, as a person who looks around, and it's really easy to see a lot of problems in the world. You only have so much bandwidth.
Yeah.
And so how do you decide when you wake up in the morning, okay, this is
What
where
do
I
I
need to
do?
put my energy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is something that I'm finally learning. A lot of people will reach out to me about so many different issues and like ask for like a solution,
Right.
or for me to speak out about it, or for me to be here, or for me to be there. And just like I have to tell people, like, first of all, I'm only one person, and I only have like the capacity in my brain to think critically about so many different things and apply my energy to it. And so I just have to continuously remind myself, like, what do I value? And I know if I need to speak on something, because it'll just hit me different than other things. Like, it'll just feel different. It'll feel like I need to say something, or I need to do something, or I need to organize. While I may like be outraged in my mind a little bit about certain issues, like specifically like the hospital closures across Mississippi, things like that. I really care deeply about that. But again, like, I can't fight every single fight.
Right.
Like, I just kind of stick to, and so a recent focus for me has honestly been around the water crisis.
Yeah, and you've done a great job on that, by the way.
Yeah, and so that's really where a lot of my energy has been concentrated. And then also I actually went to school with some girls, and their brother was killed by Capitol Police. And so Jalen Lewis's case has been one that really moved me, seeing the pictures of him with his children and just him just enjoying life, and to just know that was stripping, that family hasn't had answers in almost 6 months. Things like that, it really does like touch me. That's when I feel the need to like speak on it.
I was going to say, we'll touch on the water crisis, because you did it at a 30,000 foot level, but you also did it down on a personal level too. Because you were on television, obviously.
Yeah.
You were interviewed by magazines and everything else. That's the 30,000 foot.
Right.
That's national awareness. That's having
Right.
America know. But you were also handing out water pitchers with filters in it.
Yeah.
So, there were, like I said, when you're attacking a problem like that, do you do that? Do you sit there and say, okay, what can I do to bring attention to this? But then also, what can I do to help solve it on a local level?
Yeah, I think that, really like working on the local level, it just automatically translated into like a lot of that national media coverage and everything, because most of them were like,
they were here.
They were here, and they were reaching out to me. And so, I definitely started like on the local level. It purely started with just trying to deliver water, trying to get this organized, logistics. I can't even like, now I see water cases like triggering, because it's like I can only think about just being out in the hot, unloading pallets, putting them in the storage unit, putting them at doorsteps, and you don't realize how heavy a 40 case pack of water is, a 40 pack case of water is, until you're like lifting one after another. And it was extremely hot when we were doing all that, and it was just a lot. But I enjoy doing both. I enjoy delivering water. I enjoy like doing the logistics, but it's also cool to like raise awareness. A lot of people were texting me from around the country or found my social media. It was like, hey, I didn't know about this, or how can I donate, or how can I get involved? And so it was cool.
You turned an ACLU internship into a job.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So anybody out there who's got an internship, if you throw yourself into it, it can turn into a gig.
No, for sure.
But how have you enjoyed that?
I really enjoyed it. That was my first time working like in office, and like a part of such a big organization as an affiliate of it, and I really enjoy it. I love my coworkers. I love, I really get like an inside look into, how advocacy works. But I think I had, I was doing a pretty good job myself, but now I kind of get like a little more formal view of what that looks like.
So right now, somebody's watching this video, maybe they're 14, watching this, and they're thinking, how can I get involved? How can I make a difference in my community? How can I make a difference in my school? What advice would you give to them?
I would tell them, honestly, whatever issue that you care about, 9 times out of 10, there is already an organization around here that's working on it.
Yeah.
Most of them have websites and they're like begging for volunteers all the time. Start volunteering with some organizations around here that are doing the work that you want to do. Follow them on social media, engage with them on social media, comment, like. You could even reach out to some of their social media pages and be like, hey, I say y'all having this event, can I be there? And most nonprofits, especially around here, who may have like smaller budgets or anything, they're always looking for people who are just wanting to be hands-on in helping them out. And so I would definitely say find some organizations around here that are doing it. Even some national organizations, you may be able to do some text banking, phone banking, all types of stuff you can do right from your home. That can really, really help a lot of people. And also, like, there's never going to be a right time to get into it. Like, just do it.
Yes, do
I always say that, like, just do it. Just get into it. You'll find out if it's for you.
Obviously, you had mentors early on. And obviously, you have a very strong family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about who mentored you and how your parents, your grandparents, how your family influenced who this wonderful person sitting with us today.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of, which is why I try to do a good job of, like, I have a lot of younger girls who reach out to me and say, oh, like, I like that you do this, I like you to do that, like, can we talk, or can I come, like, hang out with you and, like, ride along and, like, see what you're doing, which I was like, oh, that's so sweet, because I had so many, like, women, like Arika Bennett, Adelia Carthen, Shalonda Spencer, I mean, even Anjanou Ellis, like, just so many great women who were open to letting me into their space and learning from them. Just always being a listening ear. If I ever need advice, like if somebody emails me this, like I text that, like, Arika, like, what do I say to this? Like, is this like, I don't know about that. Like, and she always like gives me like this sisterly advice. Like, no, I wouldn't respond to that. Yes, I would respond to this. I would tell them this. And so they also like taught me a lot about like knowing my worth in a lot of situations. Because there are gonna be a lot of people who assume that because you're young, you don't know any better, like big corporations or organizations or ask this is out of you, and like don't say anything about compensation, even they want hours of your time and all this effort. And it's just like I can send you an invoice. And so different things like that they like help me, come up with. And so I'm really, really thankful for just my village in that way, and just my family. I take my family on just such a roller coaster. Like they just never know what's next for me, because I don't tell anybody about anything until I already do it. Same when I like wrote the piece about the flag, I didn't tell my mama until it was about to get published. When I applied for, just so many different things, I don't tell anybody until I like get it. Like I finally get an email, and they're just like, "So where are you going next?" It's like a Where's Waldo, but it's like also like Where's Maisie? Like what's next?
Where's Maisie?
Yeah,
follow me on social media.
Yeah, so, they're just like, okay, cool.
So you follow yourself on social media to see where you are at any given time?
Yeah, no, they always something full of surprises. So
well, I'm not surprised though about the Truman, and that's just fantastic. And it was like there were 2 HBCUs.
Yeah.
So you were one of them.
Yeah. So and that could like also be viewed as like an issue, because like honestly a lot of our and even when I talked to the other HBCU recipient, like we just didn't have much of an internal process. And so there's definitely like a barrier to a lot of HBCU students, and some who just don't know about it. And so hopefully, I'm speaking to existence if I get it. When I get it, I would like to help other, HBCU students who are into, because I know a lot of people who are like into public service and do that type of thing, but just don't know.
Right.
And it was a very overwhelming process if you don't have somebody like walking you through step by step. So
I completely get that.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, nominated for a Pulitzer Prize, and that whole process, like the big papers have like staffs that do it, and I'm sitting on there cutting in bases and get everything together. So it's kind of the same deal.
I was definitely on the website, like, looking at the sample responses and making the it's crazy.
Well, you obviously figured it out.
Yeah.
All right, last thoughts before we go.
No, I don't think I'm so bad at like final 60 seconds things. Even yesterday I had my interview, they were like, do you have anything you'd like to leave with the panel? And I was like, no, thank you. No. But yeah, just anybody who wants to make a change, be a part of change, just do it, get into it. You can follow me on social media. You can DM me. I usually respond to all my DMs at some point. You can text me if you have my number. But yeah, no, I really, really enjoyed being here with you guys. And yeah, talk to you soon.
Maisie, this was great. Thank you so much,
Thank
and good
you.
luck on March 20th.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. For more great episodes of Mississippi Stories, you can check us out at MississippiToday.org. Hey, click the like button too, so that way you get all the interviews as they come out as well. Thank you, Maisie. And thank you for watching. We'll be back with another episode of Mississippi Stories. Thank you for watching this episode of Mississippi Stories. Make sure to subscribe to the Mississippi Today YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified every time a new video uploads.